Okay, for homework 114, for some of you who didn't do the minimum on that graded quiz I did for the graphs, I'd like you to do all the work for this homework to get your full credit. So hopefully you have some kind of graph paper to draw this graph pretty big. But again, this equation, I want you to see that the first thing listed is going to be like the x value or the independent variable, the x-axis numbers, the numbers you have control over. The second value is the dependent value, the y-axis numbers, long sleeve. So to set this up, we'd like you to set it up as $2 for each short sleeve plus $2.50, 2.5 for every long sleeve y, and you want that to equal 200. So we want you to do this by finding the x and y intercepts and plot a line through them. So for the intercepts, you need to remember that the x-intercept, the y value is 0, and the y-intercept, the x value is 0. Always the opposites. X-intercept, y is 0. Y-intercept, x is 0. So when I take that equation, I plug in the 0 into the y and solve for the unknown x. I know that at the x-intercept, y is 0, so if I plug that y is 0 and solve for what's remaining, I'll get what x has to equal. So dividing by 2 makes that x equal 100, which is my x-intercept at 100, 0 right here. The next one, plug in 0 not for y, but 0 in for x, because the y-intercept always has x is 0. So 2 times 0 plus 2.5y equals 200. Divide by 2.5y, or 2.5, and that will give you y equals 80. And then that coordinate is 0, 80. Fish, fish, fish. All right, so plotting those 100, 0 for the x-intercept, 0 for x, 80 for y for the y-intercept. So there's 0, 80. There's 100, 0. Draw a line through those. The second way I'd like you to do this is by slope-intercept method. So I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. I'd like you to show this work too, solving this equation for y and graphing it that way. So 2x plus 2.5y equals 200. I'm going to take away 2x on both sides, minus 2x gives me 2.5y equals negative 2x plus 200. Going to divide everything by 2.5. And that gives me y equals, and on my calculator, negative 2 by 2.5 gives me negative 0.8 plus 80. 200 divided by 2.5, 80. Negative 0.8 written as a fraction, a little bit easier to understand, is negative 4/5. That is equivalent. This 5 into negative 4 is negative 8. These are equivalent ways of showing that rate of change, that D number. This is way easier because that's easily 5 boxes to the right for every 4 boxes you go down. So 0, 80, my y-intercept, let's plot that again, but let's use my rate of change. Right 5, down 4, right 5 boxes, down 4. Bird, bird. All right, the last thing I'd like you to do is to practice this function notation. We're going to write this as a function, and we're going to evaluate for this point right here, which is the point 50 for x, 40 for y. We're going to show that math right there. So we're going to shrink this down. I'm going to replace this equation's y right here with function notation f of x. I'm going to have you evaluate this for x is 50. So I'm going to plug in 50 right here to show the number that I'm plugging in, and then I'm going to plug in 50 right here and do the math. So this is evaluating the function at 50 short sleeves. I'm plugging in the number 50 for short sleeves equals 0.8 times 50 plus 80. This is where I'm doing the math. This is just the notation showing the X number I'm plugging in. This gives me the Y number value. So that gives me 0.8 times 50 is negative 40. This is going to be negative. Don't forget that negative. So negative 40 plus that 80 gives me the function at 50 equals 40. And that matches this coordinate. This coordinate is written as 50 for x, 40 for y, or f of x, x, y. 50 is the number I plugged in. 40 is the number that I get spit out. That is that coordinate right there. 50 for x, 40 for y, or f of x. What this is saying is when I have 50 short sleeve shirts, I have 40 long sleeve shirts. Well, if I write this as a function of long sleeve shirts right here as a function of what I use for short sleeves. So again, when I plugged in 50 short sleeves, it gave me 40 long sleeves as my answer. So these number of long sleeves depend on how many short sleeve numbers I plug in. Alright, last word is gorilla. Gorilla. Good luck.